What's up? Hello, hello, hello. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. I have a very, very, very special guest. Welcome to Behind the Hustle. Today,
Yes.
we are going to talk about something that I've really been wanting to talk about for a while, and we're revealing the ultimate cheat code to business. And I have a special, special guest. I know you guys recognize him. Um, I've built, this is so exciting. We have Billy Carson with us today, and he is world renowned. He is such an amazing person. And honestly, during our last talk, I really got to know you as a business person and your business mind. So I really just wanted to have you on, especially now during this time, this economical hurricane, if you want to call it, just to give our people some tips, some strategies, because there's a lot that can be done to help ourselves and our families. So thank you so much for joining me tonight. Guys, I'm a serial entrepreneur. I've been in business for 11 years. I've been my own boss for 11 years, and I've managed to survive downturns in the economy, recession, all types of things. And so I'm here to help you guys on your journey. And Billy, just give us a little background on your journey as an entrepreneur, a business owner. Thank you.
Yeah, no, thanks for having me on your podcast. It's a great opportunity, and welcome to the Forbidden Knowledge Podcast Network. I think that your podcast is going to help free a lot of people financially. I just know that people are going to hear some of the things that are brought up on your podcast and find ways to create passive income or even change their entire family and future generations' lives based on the knowledge that they're getting from your podcast. So cheers, and I'm so happy that you're on board with this.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. So my entrepreneurship started a long time ago.
Yeah.
It honestly began when I was 7 years old, and we're going all the way back now to 1977. Okay. I'm a little bit older than you guys out there, most of you. But I was living in the ghetto in Opelika. A lot of people might have heard my story before, and I was really, really poor. We would eat toast and matzo crackers and Cairo syrup on toast and things like that, and government cheese, the whole thing, powdered eggs, powdered milk. You'd have to add water to milk to make it into milk. And my friends were going to the ice cream truck all the time, and I didn't have any money for the ice cream truck. I just wanted to get the bubble gums up from the ice cream truck with the comic strip inside. And I got so frustrated one day, I said, man, there's gotta be a way. There's no way we can all be poor and they have more money than us. So I went in the house and I took all my toys and I put them in this Winn-Dixie grocery store milk crate. And I went door to door asking for donations for my toys to all the, the parents or the friends, and a penny, a nickel, a dollar, whatever. I just want to get some money for the ice cream truck. And I ended up making about $13 or so and change that day. And at that moment, the day that I circled those 3 blocks and came back with that money in my pockets, I realized something. There was nobody coming to save me. I was going to save myself. I realized that I was my own savior, period, point blank. And I realized that if I want to get out of the situation that I'm in, it's going to take my own action. I realized that I thought about something and I did something about it. And the end result was money in my hand. And from that day on, I knew I would always be different. I knew that I would always find a way out of that ghetto, and I did. And so that was my first entrepreneurial experience, to be honest with you, just taking stuff that I already had in the house and going door to door, asking for donations, kind of selling them door to door, cold calling, right?
No, that's key. Like you already have and what makes you unique, and you build upon that. So a lot of people search outside themselves to come up with a great idea, but it usually comes from within, something that makes you unique, something that only you have. And just like yourself, you take that and you literally run with it,
Yeah. Right. That's what you had to do. There's a formula, which I'll talk about tonight, and it's conscious thought backed by action equals manifestation.
Oh, and so say that again.
Conscious thought backed by action, which is the most important thing, equals manifestation. A lot of people come up with the thought or the idea, the dream, whatever you want to call it, but they never put the action. It'll be tomorrow. Oh, next week. Oh, when I can do this. Oh, when I finally get this done, then I'm going to do this one day. I hate when I hear people say one day, and if I can do this, and when this happens, then I'm going to do that. That's all procrastination. That's all self-sabotaging. To take action, you take action immediately upon those thoughts. You start putting a plan together. You start putting it together, a way to execute those actions, and then you'll get the end result. And a lot of people they miss the middle part. They miss the action part.
And, sometimes there's always this little voice in our head that says, you can't do it. Don't do it. You're going to fail. And once you take that first step, you're kind of like, I shouldn't have done this. I'm going to fail. So like, how can people get over that fear of putting themselves out there and being active? Because so many people start something, and as soon as one obstacle comes, they stop. How can people like get past that?
People have to realize that there's going to be obstacles in their path. There's going to be things that blindside them. There's going to be things that totally spin them around. I've had so many crazy things happen to me in my life, in my career, in my family, in my relationships, everything. There's been so many different things that have happened. Thank you. That could have caused me at any moment to say, you know what, I give up. I'm done.
Yeah.
But you have to understand perseverance. When you see those obstacles coming, when you see that resistance coming, that means you're probably on the right track. That means you're on the track to possibly getting to the gold or to the platinum or whatever your dream is, whatever that thing at the end is, that carrot is. But those obstacles are definitely going to come. They will come and they will smack you down to the ground and see if you have the capability of getting up. The universe is going to see, can you really do what it takes? Do you really want it? How bad do you really want to get this? How bad do you want this? And it's going to ask you that question by throwing all kind of incredible obstacles, including your own family members in your way, to see if you have what it takes to really reach your goals and your dreams. People have to realize that's part of the process. That's part of the plan. Don't be like shocked and stunned. Be like, oh, I expected this. I knew something. I don't know. I didn't know what it was, but something was going to happen. Don't let it push me off my path. Don't let it push me off my plans. Focus on solving each problem and moving forward. Solve another problem that comes up, move forward. Solve another problem that move forward. And that's all you do. When you solve these little tiny problems and don't see them as obstacles, when you see them as problems that need to be solved, then you can continue to push forward in your career or your life or whatever your plans are, whatever your goals and dreams are. And those people who don't do that, they self-sabotage and they become the victim mindset people, the people that say, you know what, woe is me, and the man is holding me back, and this is stopping me from doing this, and because of this, I can't do that. Those are people that really don't want it. They act like they want it, they speak that they want it, but in true reality, the little tiniest bit of pressure that hits them, they completely crumble.
Yes, that was such a gem. And I was reading something the other day, and it said the obstacle is not in the way, the obstacle is the way. And it's almost like we look for answers. Come on now, come on. Listen, we look for people start, and we're talking about business. People start a business and they look for someone to help them, like you said. They look for a guide, not knowing they are the guide. And the obstacles are really not this horrible thing that's meant to destroy you. It's actually the map to your goal. And you have to overcome those obstacles in order to get to the goal, and then go through another obstacle in order to get to the next goal. And that's why I love meeting high level people, business owners like you, because it's not the success that really like ignites me. It's the obstacles that you had to face. It's like, what did you have to go through? What situation caused you to crawl on the floor and, get down on your knees and beg for someone to help you? And how did you get past that? And that is like, so what is one cheat code you would say that someone could use right now? It's interesting that this is forbidden knowledge, right? The channel, the brand, because and today I just want to drop gems, because that's what you do. You just drop gem after gem after gem. So let's get the gems dropped. I see Liz, shout out to Elizabeth, dropping gems in the comments.
My life.
Yes, in your life, dropping gems, right? So like, what is one cheat code? And we're going to go through a lot of things today, but what is one thing that we can discuss with our viewers that's kind of been hidden, that hasn't been talked about, that has helped you build your empire?
Well, one of the things that it's going to take besides putting the action in, it's going to take, planning, understanding who your competition is. I have a few gems or I guess maybe, these different things that I wrote down just for today that we can impart some wisdom on people. And the first one actually is identify a probable niche. A lot of people want to do something, but they haven't really identified the niche. If you have a passion in your life, something that you're very passionate about,
Yeah.
you have to develop that passion until you become an expert at it, the best you can possibly be at that passion. And then you have to find a need for that passion in the world. That's the niche. You have to find who needs what I'm great at, who needs what I'm capable of doing at a high level.
Yeah.
When you find that niche, you have to research that niche. Okay, you need to understand it inside and out. Because the key to making money is to find a need and fill it. If you're not doing that, you're not going to get that money. You're not going to put money in your bank account. Money is an energy exchange. So you have to be able to provide that passion to someone who needs it. And the exchange for providing that passion is going to show up as dots and zeros in your bank account, comma, comma, comma. So that's the main thing I think people need to understand. Identifying the niche where they fit in. And if you don't know it, or if you're good at something and you want to get better, go work for a company that does what you love to do. Learn it inside and out. You know what I'm saying? Become a double agent. You go there, you work, you make income, and you're learning the game at the same time. And then take that knowledge and branch off and do your own thing.
Man, that is, yes. It's all about supplying a need and like giving a solution to a problem. And I've always believed that understanding your target audience is so crucial for business. Could you elaborate on how entrepreneurs can effectively identify their target market and what that is, and tailor their products or services to meet those needs? Like, let's just talk about target market.
Yeah. You have to conduct market research. You have to do the market research. You have to understand the customer's preferences. You have to identify gaps and opportunities that you can exploit. You have to also identify your competitors' strengths and your competitors' weaknesses.
Yeah.
And so where you learn a lot of this is developing your business plan and your business model. Until you do that, you won't really have a clear idea. People come in all the time to talk to me. They're so passionate about what they want to do and what their entrepreneur idea is. And then I asked them a couple of questions, about, well, let me hear your executive summary, or what is your business model, or, what differentiates you from your competitor? And they can't answer the question like this. And when you can't answer the question like this, that's a big problem. Yeah. So the first thing you need to do is develop a strong business plan, which will help you develop your business model. And also it'll help you develop your pitch deck and your executive summary. And through the research that it takes to develop an appropriate business plan that you have done yourself, don't let somebody else write it for you. You need to know exactly what's going on. You need to do the market research for your business. And then you can identify your strengths, your weaknesses, and your competitors' strengths and their weaknesses. And it'll allow you to develop the proper type of a business model that will allow you to succeed. What separates you from them? What makes you different from this other company? Forbidden Knowledge is a streaming TV network, but so is Paramount. So is CBS, so is HBO,
Right.
so I'm saying Showtime and all these other networks. Well, what differentiates me from them? Why would somebody subscribe to Forbidden Knowledge TV versus subscribing to HBO? Exactly. There's a reason why. We've identified our niche market. Our niche market is knowledge and consciousness. And that's our market. Wisdom, understanding, ancient teachings, right? Esoteric wisdom, metaphysics, financial literacy, and so forth and so on. So you're not going to probably get that when you go to HBO. You're going to get drama. You're going to, suspense and crime movies, right? And so we found our niche. We found our strength. Our strength is that we have unique content that's being created almost every single day, versus they have a lot of recycled content that's going on and on over and over, recycling from network to network. It's always the same thing. You turn on Netflix, you're watching the same stuff nonstop. And so we've identified where our strengths and our weaknesses are. And we said, we have a market share we can capture here. And so we set out to target that market share, and we're capturing market share every single day because we know what we're looking for.
Oh man, let me tell you, I spent some time with Billy and Liz a few weeks ago, and the whole community was just woke. And I told Billy and Liz, I was like, I guess I'm like the conscious entrepreneur. that's where I fit in, because I've gone on my own spiritual path and journey. I've been doing business for a while, but when you actually like really tap into yourself, your soul, your purpose, you start going on a whole nother journey. So I'm so happy to be a part of the Forbidden Knowledge family. And something you mentioned about competition, it's and the way to win is using what makes you unique and attaching it to your business, because ideas are universal. Yes, like there's so many different competitors, but you just have to tap in to what makes you different, what makes you unique. And really, I believe the first step is finding out who you are as a person. Don't try to start a business if you're not woke, okay? and I
Really?
and I'm saying that for real. Like tap in, like Christy said, you have to tap into who you are as a person and know that you are great and amazing before you can even think about offering anything or selling anything to somebody else. So definitely knowing, spending time with yourself and developing who you are as a person, what makes you special, what do you like doing, what are your passions, and then thinking about a brand and attaching it to a service or a product. So let's talk about the power of leveraging your network, right? We all have people that we know, people that we can kind of connect with. So how has networking played a role in your own success?
Yeah.
And what advice do you have for entrepreneurs looking to expand their connections? Because, like how can they expand their connections in
Yeah.
business?
Networking is a massive way to expand your business. Networking for me has been super massive because um, I don't spend a lot of money. In the past, I spent $0 in any kind of marketing or paid ads or things like that. I primarily, in my industries that I built, were primarily based on networking, a lot of networking. And so when you go to these networking meetings in the city, your city probably has business networking meetings. You can join you can join the city hall. You can also go to network business meetings. A lot of local cities have networking business meetings right in your local area. You can also now, because of the internet, you can join business networking groups on Facebook, on social media. You can pay to have access to certain high level marketing programs, right? I have a Billy Club membership, right? I play off the Billionaire Club. And in the Billy Club, people apply to be a part of my Billy Club. And after we interview somebody, we allow them to come in if we think that they're going to be good for our club. And that's a private mentoring program exclusive where I am the actual mentor and they're mentees, but we all network together and share each other's wealth of knowledge. So networking is massive. It can allow you to build a massive business. I know several realtors that are very wealthy. I know a couple of mortgage lenders that are extremely, extremely wealthy, purely off of nothing but networking. They literally have never had to place an ad on anything, and they're always multi-million-dollar earners every single year. And I have one friend who doesn't do any marketing at all, and he owns a mortgage company. He lives in Boston, and sometimes he's in Colorado. That company makes over $1 million a year in profits just from word of mouth, pure networking. And so networking is huge, and asking for referrals is huge. It's something that you should add to what you're doing, what you're selling, or what service you're providing. Always ask for referrals. People will give you referrals. And make sure that your customer service is on point as well. That's something that I had to learn, over the years. And so I had to finally put together a customer service team and a customer service manager, because as I was expanding and growing so fast, there was more need to address issues as they arise. And in the beginning, I was not meeting those needs as fast as possible. And now, I saw the need. Elizabeth saw the need, and we put that whole system in place now so that we can get to people and we can respond to them in a very timely and quick fashion. But networking is the key to building. And without the networking, we would have never even needed a customer service department.
For real. Look, I want to get to that, but someone said, is this believable for someone 65 or older? And my question would be, why not? Right?
It's never too late. Look at Michelle Yeoh. Michelle Yeoh, the actress, right? She had been acting for decades, no awards, no recognition, just working. And all of a sudden in 2023, she exploded on the scene. I think she got every award known to mankind, right? And she's 66, I think, or something like that. So it's never too late. You know, your time to come will bloom. Everything happens in divine time. If you get the awakening, the spark right now to make a change and make some adjustments to what you're looking to do, just do it. And, you know, the most important thing at 65, you know, hopefully you've got more years, so you should have more knowledge. You should have a more wealth of knowledge and more networks to draw from, more people to draw from, more knowledge to draw from. And also you should be able now at this point in your life to start to put together small teams that can help you get the workload done, because you can't do everything yourself.
Oh man, that's another bomb. Delegation. We're going to talk about that.
Delegate. Yeah.
Delegation. So,
Yeah.
right. So you mentioned connections. Now, maintaining those connections and nurturing those connections in the long run, right? So I find that many people are, when you're in business, and let me know what you think. When you're in business, it's almost like you're not yourself. You're like this third party representative of yourself, who is focused on what you offer the community, being a good person, you know, that's yourself. But not having these emotional feelings every time someone says something, you kind of go off on a tangent, create a bad, you know, reputation for yourself, turn people off so they don't want to do business for you. How can people learn to maintain and nurture these long-term relationships so that so it doesn't ruin their business?
Right. The most important thing you have to understand when you're in business is that there's only two reasons why people don't buy. It's because either they don't like you or they don't have the money. And in most cases, it's because they don't like you. Right. So that's the way that it goes. And people always remember how you make them feel.
Yes.
They will never forget it. Okay. And you only get one shot at that. There's no reprisal. There's no reprieve from that. They always remember how you make them feel. And that first imprint of the feeling that they got from you is what's going to last in their brain forever. And so you have to understand how to nurture and look for opportunities to build relationships. When I go into a new situation with somebody who has something that can add value to me, I tell them straight up, I'm looking to build with you. Yeah. I want them to know in the very beginning, you know what I'm saying, that, hey, I see your value. I see it. I see what you have. I see what you're capable of doing for me and what your value brings to me. Yeah. And I cherish that. And I'm letting you know I want to do whatever it takes to help build, and I want to build with you. So as I grow, you're going to grow too, because I want to add to you as well. And when you go on with that kind of conversation, with that mindset, they then feel that. They feel that that energy. And now you're working, but you have to make sure you fulfill on that. As you grow with somebody, make sure you keep feeding them and they'll keep feeding you. You keep feeding them and vice versa.
That's what I was going to say. It has to be give and take.
Yeah.
Of course, when we go into networking and we're trying to make connections, we're thinking about what we want, what we need from the exchange. But if you really focus on the other person, what do they need and how can you help give that to them in a fair exchange, then that's how you build strong connections. And honestly, when I think about all the amazing things that have happened to me in my journey, not the obstacles, that's a whole nother story, more of those. But when I think about the most amazing experiences, it's always come through just an organic relationship happening, like me meeting someone, someone dropping in my inbox, and it's a divine connection that has brought a large goal like to me without me doing anything. Most of the greatest things have come to me, have fallen in my lap. And sometimes we get in this sometimes we get in this mindset of just, oh, I gotta work hard, I gotta do this, I gotta do that. No, you just have to set your intentions, be a good person, and it comes right to you. But building strong relationships has been a game changer for me in my own business and my own journey. So let's talk about the mindset shift for financial success. Yeah. And what are some common misconceptions people have about money and business and how to overcome these limiting beliefs?
Yeah. There are so many limiting beliefs. That's why I wrote my book, Woke Doesn't Mean Broke. And that book has become a bestseller in 4 countries. And, I wrote it based on the American economic system. And I never thought in a million years that it would be a bestseller in other countries, but it has, because I guess those principles, those economic principles pretty much are pretty close to being the same no matter where you go in the world.
Yep.
And another reason why I wrote it was because so many people were commenting underneath my post when they would find out that I had a lavish life, and I would be in a Rolls Royce doing an Instagram live, right? I'm on my 5th Rolls Royce now. I would be, in a mansion, or I'd be in a nice place. That's just where I was. I mean, people would actually be angry at me because I appeared successful financially. If I was in a rusted, beat up Camry, they would have never said anything. And I said, this is a problem, because a lot of what I teach is talking about how to self-empower, how to self-motivate, how to shoot for your dreams, right? And actually catch them, and how to actually grow and manifest the life that you actually desire, and also to manifest abundance, because the power is inside of us to do all of this. And if I'm teaching these things and I can't show it in my own life, that's a big problem. You see, if I'm out here asking, I need you guys to send me a cash app because I can't pay my light bill this week, but I just got done doing a 2-hour talk about manifesting, right? That's a big problem. Listen, there's accounts on YouTube right now begging and asking for spirit change and teaching knowledge. So there's a big problem with that. The person who's teaching hasn't made the connection to actually execute it in their own life. And so I'm showing you the proof is in the pudding. And you've been to my house.
Wow, let me tell you something. Yes, I have.
Okay. The proof is in the pudding. And so I said, I have to write a book where I'm teaching financial literacy, because the mindset, the predisposed mindset on what money is and how money works and what money means to somebody is actually so totally false and so way off. It's got people in a financial prison. And I said, I got to educate them, let them know being financially successful, being financially healthy, manifesting abundance is actually the way it's supposed to be. You're not supposed to be impoverished, poor, broke, living from day to day, trying to figure out how your light's going to get paid, trying to figure out how your car's going to get paid. They come in with a tow truck. You keep peeping out the window, see if your car's there in the morning. That's not living. That's panicking, stress. That's a death mindset. That's a poverty mindset. And that mindset has no power, zero power. It has no power. The only thing that mindset does, it brings you more negativity, more problems, because you're manifesting it, because the law of attraction works in both ways, high frequency and low frequency. So the more low frequency you put out, the fear, the stress, the anguish, the drama, the trauma, you're going to get more of it back. And you know those people. Every time you talk to them, they got another problem for your solutions, right? They can never get their life right. They can't get right. But the people who are always positive and high energy and spirited and focusing on solutions and focusing on creating, they always have good news for you. You see, it works in both ways. And so the book is designed to teach people that it's okay to be financially successful. It's okay to have finances linked to spirituality, because money means nothing. If we had a bag of money and we were in Alaska freezing to death, right, we would burn that money so we can live through the night, right? Money is only a consciousness value attached to a piece of paper. So it's not the money, it's the abundance that we need. It's what the energy exchange gives us. The money is just a conduit to get to what we actually are trying to manifest into our life, whether it's a light, electricity, so we can have warmth in the winter, food in our mouth so our body can continue to stay alive. Those bare necessities of life are mandatory, and it should never be looked at as, well, I should not be financially blessed because I'm spiritual. That's a fault. That's bad news. That's fake. That's fake news. So that's why, people have that mindset. We need to understand that to be a person in this world that can help and assist others, which is our ultimate goal of ascension knowledge in life, is to help and assist others, be of service to others. You can't do that if you're financially distraught. If you're financially distraught, if you don't know where your next meal is coming from, how in the world are you going to help somebody on the street? How in the world are you going to help a friend or a relative? How in the world are you going to look into helping providing world peace anywhere? You're focusing on the next being you want to eat. And so we have to get out of that broke poverty mindset and realize we deserve it. It is our birthright to manifest abundance, and throw away that old mindset of poverty, poor. It's okay. I'm riding a bike with these holes in my shoes and my pants, but no, that's garbage. Start manifesting abundance. Live a life that you deserve to live. Believe that you can bring heaven to earth. That's where it starts. It starts as turning this planet into heaven and not waiting to die so that you can live.
Oh my God, Jesus! Woo! Listen, if that was not a bomb, and that's what I tell people all the time. Like, you create your own heaven. You create your own reality. And so my children, I have small children. It's hard because we're a mixture of everything in this country, right? So finding our roots has been quite a task. So we were able to discover some of where our ancestors derived from. But I started reading these books about famous inventors and famous this and that of African descent to my children, and at night. And after a while, they started doing better in school. And I was like, bro, this can't. And it was, because it was the only thing I changed. It was the only thing I did differently. And it goes back to what we were saying, knowing who you are and feeling empowered by who you are and where you came from, and knowing that you have come from kings and queens. How dare you think it's okay to live a mediocre life? How dare you not attempt to change the game for your entire bloodline? How dare you get comfortable? How dare you get comfortable, lax and lazy? What would your ancestors say? And that's what I tell myself, and I truly believe, and that's what keeps me going. The baton is passed to you. What are you gonna do with it? You're gonna sit there and make excuses and complain. And I've had some really hard times in my career where I had to really encourage myself to keep going. And what I found is that positive affirmations, like in the morning, I would just empower myself with positive recordings, thinking I am great, I'm amazing, and really believing it. And if I want to be an entrepreneur, let me act like an entrepreneur. Let me play the role, play the part, and then boom, here I am. You know what I'm saying? How important is positioning yourself into the role that you want to be in? How important is that for people to actually live that life?
You have to rewrite your own DNA. And I'm glad you brought up the affirmations. In order to do what you just asked me, you have to begin to rewrite your own DNA. You must unlearn. So you're deprogramming. The deprogramming means you're taking, most of us are living on epigenetic memories. Epigenetic memories are memories of our ancestors. The problem is that the memories of the ancestors, good and bad, are there, but the ones that are bad usually rise to the top. The body, for whatever reason, the human body, it senses and it picks up and reads those epigenetics that are more from the negative side. And we don't take the time to center ourselves and focus on the positive. And so the positive affirmations help to rewrite. It goes into the RNA and re-encodes it. It goes into the DNA and re-encodes it. Saying positive affirmations every single day out loud, 3 times a day for 21 days. Scientifically proven. This is from a science journal, not from Billy Carson, from a science journal, will begin to rewrite your own DNA. In other words, your body will begin to believe the frequencies coming out of your own mouth. It will actually then begin to change and alter its actual form inside of you and turn you into a whole new type of person. And that's the power. That's where people need to be. They need to understand. That's why I wrote the song Affirmations, which is my #1 worldwide song right now.
Sing a little bit real quick. You want to sing a little bit real quick?
Affirmations? Well, what I did was, I don't sing, I speak. I speak probably about maybe 80 affirmations on one track. And so those 80 affirmations are.
Give us 2. 3 or 4.
I am the architect of my life. And so you want to tell people I'm the architect. You're telling yourself, I am the architect. In other words, I am the one who's designing my own life. I'm laying out my own blueprint for myself. Yeah. And so every morning when I wake up, I'm the architect of my life. I choose its contents. I'm choosing the contents of things that I'm allowing into my life. I have a border that say, this is not allowed in. You can come in, this can come in, but this thing here, which is going to cause me stress, drama, trauma, you have to stay out there. I'm not allowing you into my life today. You see, so, and then I tell people, and I have affirmation, if you're sick, in this same song, I'm healing right now. My body is being healed, right? So if people are out there with all different types of illnesses and sicknesses and dis-ease, which turns into disease. So I tell myself every day that my body is actually being healed, right? I'm telling myself that my relationships are getting stronger each day. So whatever relationships I have, business, personal, no matter what kind of relationship it is, but they're getting stronger each day. I'm telling myself this through the affirmation. There's so many affirmations and they're so powerful. If they just look up affirmations by Forbidden Knowledge, it's actually the videos on this YouTube account. It's so they can watch it for free. It's on all music platforms. So many people listen to it every day because I did it to music so that people can realize if you do it on top of music, you can easily remember it. It has a nice tune and it's something that you can play and you can begin to speak it every single day, because people would always contact me and say they can't remember what affirmations to write down or what are the best ones to write down. So I tried to make one song that had just about everything in it to cover every aspect of life and to motivate and inspire people. But if you do that every single day, multiple times, the most important thing is to speak them out loud. Your body is made of 80% water. We know through the experiments by Matsuro Emoto, who rest in power, he passed away a few years ago. I worked with his understudy, and she was teaching us about the 432 hertz and the power of the water in the body and how it picks up and remembers information based on cymatic frequencies. And they did an experiment with jars of water, and they put prayers on the different jars. And some jars they put hateful words, and they talked those words to the jars of water. And then they looked at those droplets underneath electron microscopes and found that the jars that had been spoken to positively were perfect crystallized droplets. And the jars that had not been spoken to properly or negatively, those droplets were malformed. They weren't even crystallized. And then they took the malformed jars of water and they spoke positive to them. And then the droplets crystallized themselves. So we know that our body is made of water. So when you're speaking, it's all self-talk. Even if you're talking to somebody, if you're cursing somebody out, downing somebody, ripping somebody, attacking somebody, your body doesn't know the difference. It doesn't know you're talking to somebody else or you're talking to it. So those same words that go out, is like I said in the good book, it's a double-edged sword. It's coming back to destroy your own body. And so you have to understand your body's listening because your body's made of what? Water. And that water is listening and to the intent and the vocal cymatic frequencies. And so the words you speak are truly powerful and will command your future reality in the third dimension.
Billy, did you see today? Well, I mean, I'm sure you already known this, but they have actually proven that when you cut or rip out the roots from a plant, that it cries.
Yes.
Yes,
that's correct.
They finally, admitted to that. And it sounds like there's a sound of bubbles when the plant is thirsty. And it's just such a beautiful remembrance that we're all connected. We're all connected, and that vibes and energy, it's all real. And I know people on this channel, they believe it. And I hope more people believe that what you tell yourself, what you say to yourself, it's really going to transform who you are. And some people don't do it because they're like, oh, that's silly, and it keeps them in a mental prison, I'm telling you guys, it is real.
It's real.
Talk to me nice. You know that phrase, talk to me nice? That's real. Talk to yourself nice. Talk to yourself nice.
I tell people all the time, if you see me talking to myself, don't interrupt me. I'm getting expert advice.
Exactly.
Period. I talk to myself non-stop all the time. Little Gabe be like, are you talking to yourself again? I said, yes, I am. I'm talking, and I leave, little signs and symbols everywhere. People should be using their social media as vision boards, right? Instead of posting pictures of half a plate of food and a cat jumping on your lap, do that too. But where's your vision at? I remember where I was years ago. If you go on my personal Facebook account and go back to 2016, I guess, you'll start seeing I'm posting Rolls Royces. I posted so many. People were asking me if I was shopping for a Rolls Royce. I said, I'm going to own one, right? Am I shopping one? But I'm owning one. And then I'm posting it everywhere. Stories, Instagram. Now it's on Instagram. That's Instagram post. I'm posting the Wraith. I'm posting this because I wanted a Rolls Royce. I made it into my dream board. I produced a song. That song ended up getting pitched to Rolls Royce for the Ghost 2 that came out. I believe it was 2016 model. And now a song I produced is playing on a Rolls Royce commercial. I only have the Ghost yet, but now What happens? A year later, I end up getting the first one.
See?
And so it's all about putting out that dream board, putting the vision out there, focusing on the things that you want to get and bring into your life. You want to see a successful business, you want a successful business plan. Well, then look into a company that's done it and has already achieved the goals that you're trying to get to, and post some of their success points, some of their benchmarks that they've hit, and then put your benchmarks up next to that, saying, I'm climbing to this is where I'm going to get to. Post it, put it up on posters, print out the sheets of paper, put them up around your house, put it on your social media. Start turning your social media into a dream board instead of a board full of all kind of stuff that's totally meaningless.
And you know what? Like, if you look at your Explore page and you see a whole bunch of crap, you need to reevaluate the people that you're following. I'm not going to lie. One day I looked at my Explore page and I said, oh, what the? No. Yeah. So you have to be very, the energy of social media is clicking. Be careful what you click, because that's going to become reality. So it's so true. And just to know,
I want to add something to that real quick for you. I'm sorry, but the social media works on the same algorithm as the law of attraction. The algorithm they have for that Explorer page is based on the law of attraction formula. Just wanted to tell you that.
Say it again. Say it again and dissect it for us. Wait, and let us know how we can make our social media accounts.
Yeah. The social media, like for example, on the Instagram account, that Explorer page, which is like the main popular page, is curated specifically for your own interests, and is taking off the data that you have already put out there into the universe based on what it thinks you like. So when you go to your Explorer page, it's going to expose your consciousness, and it's also going to expose what you're manifesting into your life. So if you want to just know where you are, go to your Explorer page and it'll tell you a lot about yourself. Sometimes you may need to, like she says, unfollow some people, follow new accounts, start liking posts that have positivity and self-empowerment in them versus posts that are people in street fights and getting shot and all this other kind of crazy stuff, or half-naked women or whatever else is going on. Start focusing on things that are going to add to you, not take away from you. And then go back to that Explorer page in a month and take a look at it and screenshot both of them so you can see the difference in your consciousness.
Wow. Whew. Listen, you're dropping bombs. And often when I'm going through a tough time where I feel like I can't get out of it, it's like you have to, like you say, be vocal and say, speak to what's holding you back, like, get away from me. I am powerful. I'm going to do this. And you have to speak it into existence. It's so true. So let's talk about building a strong business foundation. Like, what are the essential elements entrepreneurs should focus on to ensure their businesses are built to last?
Yeah, the first thing you want to do is evaluate the market, and you want to evaluate that market that you're trying to get into to see longevity. Start to research the times of depressions and or you want to say collapses or partial collapses, like the 2008. What happened to your industry in 2008 when that real estate market went down? How did the industry you're trying to build now, how did it fare in that market? And if it didn't fare too well, how did those people come back? What techniques did they use to get back up and continue to walk instead of falling down and never getting up again? Focus on the ones that became successful even after the collapse. Or like some businesses thrive during those times of downtime, right? Or when the global pandemic thing went around the world and shut everything down. I made the most money in the history of my company. That was the biggest year I had. The year that a lot of people didn't do anything, I exploded, right? And so you have to evaluate the industry that you're in and evaluate what happens during periods of partial collapses or economic depression. That's really, really important to understand so that you can prepare for the future before it happens, because a genius solves problems before they happen. Don't wait for the problem, solve it before it happens. And then the next thing you need to do, you need to be financially straight. You need to start off the right way. A lot of entrepreneurs have these great ideas, or people with these great ideas that want to be entrepreneurs, but they don't have any financial literacy. Start learning financial literacy. Start studying. Get financial literacy books. Understand how the money works. Yeah. Also, don't forget, you got to get a bookkeeper or a CPA or some type of equivalent. You have to be able to watch how the money works and know how to budget properly, allocating the right amount of money for marketing, allocating the right amount of money for your services or products, understanding you have to have float money. This is where a lot of people fail. They don't have the float. So there's this window of time in between the idea, the execution of the idea or the product or service, right? And the time that it's actually bought and traded for, and then the time that the money actually comes into your account.
Yeah.
It's not, oh, I got an idea and the money's in your bank account. So that window at the end of that, a lot of people never plan for that. And then they end up getting stuck here. They have orders still coming in, but they don't even have the product or the service available because that costs X amount of dollars. This money hasn't shown up yet. And so now they're scratching their head like, what the heck am I supposed to do? And so you have to prepare for that. This is where 80% of people go down right there. They're done. All right. They don't have I have a meeting with somebody in a few days who did that exactly what I just told you. And I might evaluate their business. I might buy their entire company because I like the product. Wow. But this happens to most people. How many people are going to come and bail you out like me? Very few. You have to have that cushion there because it's going to be a time of the money coming in and needing to go back out again. So start with the cushion in mind. Now, not every time you can do it, but you need to understand there will be this overlap. If you're prepared for it mentally, at least you can figure it out. That sometimes what you can do is you can extend the delivery time. So instead of your delivery time being 48 hours, you got to tell people, look, you're at the beginning of this. Your delivery time, my lead time now is 3 weeks. Yep. As you get more revenue coming in, you build a reserve up, your lead time can drop to 3-4 days. And then eventually it could drop to 48 hours if you're capable of doing that. But in the beginning, extend your lead time to 3 weeks. If you can deliver faster than 3 weeks, you look like a hero, you see? But then you don't have the pressure on top of you. So these kind of things, financial literacy, understanding that window gap of time is going to be there between the money coming in and what else you got to pay for, and just really, really honing in and finding out what markets do in bad times, what your product or your service does in bad times to sustain itself.
And yes, and I want to get to the conscious awards right after this, but what you said was so dynamic. And I always tell people, like, you don't judge a person that has a job when they start running their business, when they started off, because they're using their job as a resource to help fund the business. And so you don't want to always look at entrepreneurship like, oh, I got to, struggle. I'm going to live in my car, which, of course, sometimes you have to. But if you have a job and you're like, I want to leave, cut out some of your expenses, right? Yeah. Because it's not just about how much money you make, it's about how much you keep.
That's right.
And sometimes people say, I don't have enough money. You do, but the way you're spending it is going in the wrong places. Cut back on what you're spending. Use some of that money to invest into your business. And this is what I did. When I made the same amount of money in my business as my job, that's when I quit my job. My job. And I made the transition. And keep your expenses low, because when you first start a business, you don't want to start flying and going on vacations and doing all this stuff. The whole point of a business is to become the mint and make money, not just spend it. Tell us about the Oh, sorry, I'm excited. Go ahead.
No, you're right. No, you hit it on the head. And one of the best things that ever happened to me was I was, had my marketing company. Years later, after I told you about selling the toys, I had a couple of businesses I started. One I started at 12 years old, and by 13, I was making more than my parents, selling digital car stereos. This is, back in the 80s when they didn't even exist yet. So I was buying them wholesale from New York and selling them to upperclassmen in high schools. Word got out, and I had people coming from the Tri-County area to buy my digital car radios, and I made a lot of money doing that. But then years later, I expanded into all areas of marketing. I had a huge client. This client was paying me on average between 10 to 12 grand a week. Now, this is in the early 90s. To get that kind of money back then is like the equivalent of making about 30 grand a week right now. And then the company had a problem. The two owners got into a fight. One owner siphoned all the money out of the company and went to Canada, where he's from, and left all the independent representatives selling from home high and dry. I never got paid that week. A week turned into 2, 3. A month turned into 2 months. A month turned into 3 months. I ended up losing my house. I lost my car. I had to go get this little tiny hoopty. I ended up, long story short, sleeping in my car in front of a motel on the beach, okay, for a week. I got $30 lent to me by somebody who believed in me. I went inside the motel and I asked the guy if he can give me $20 in quarters because the other 10 I needed for gas for the car. I ate one burrito a day. I would break the burrito in half. I would eat one burrito a day. Somebody was with me. I had to give her, it was a woman, the other half. And yeah, it was pretty sad times.
You didn't eat the whole burrito. That's painful.
Yeah, I know. Didn't get to eat the whole burrito. And so I went to the payphone. Back then, the payphones had the yellow book, yellow pages, right? I started cold calling out of the yellow pages looking for new marketing clients. And I would just call right down the list, cold calling with those quarters, a pocket full of quarters and a payphone. I set my appointments. I went out, I closed deals. I got some advanced payments, got myself out of the, off that guy's parking lot of that motel who was nice enough to let us stay there, into a hotel, from a hotel into an apartment, from an apartment back into a house, from that hoopty into a nice car, and then continue to grow and grow and grow from there. But it taught me something so important that a lot of entrepreneurs need to know. The recipe to success, it never changes. It's the same. I don't care what happens. The recipe will always be the recipe. That's why people who become wealthy and lose it all, you turn around in 3-5 years, they're already back, maybe even higher than they was before because they know the recipe already. Yeah. The recipe never changes.
Ebbs and flows. Listen.
That's right.
Woo! Man, oh man. Okay. Tell us about the Conscious Awards, and then we're gonna show people what it's all about.
Oh boy, it's going to be incredible. The Forbidden Conscious Awards 2023. That's going to be July 30th this year. You don't want to miss it. I'll be speaking that night. I'll be the only speaker and the keynote speaker. So if you want to hear a lecture, you got to come out and see me speak. I'm not speaking in a lot of conferences anymore. So if you want to hear me speak in person and see me in person, walk the red carpet, take photos, and I'll be signing the book. If you have my book, come to the Forbidden Conscious Awards in Miami this year, July 30th, 2023. We're giving out 11 amazing awards to amazing people in various different categories, and you get to vote for the winners on forbiddenknowledge.com. And there's a 12th category, which is a Lifetime Achievement Award. I know who I'm voting for already. I've already voted. You need to go vote as well on forbiddenknowledge.com.
Let's watch a little preview.
Hey, everybody. It's Billy Carson, also known as Forbidden Knowledge. I want to talk to you about a very special event coming up July 30th, 2023, the Forbidden Conscious Awards, the first annual event of its type. We're going to honor people who have been contributing to the conscious community for decades. People that you know and love that have helped you get to higher levels of thought and consciousness and awareness. And guess what? It's time to give them their flowers while they're still alive. It's going to be a live in-person event, but seats are going to sell out very fast. You want to make sure you're there in person for this amazing level event. It's going to be above the Oscars, above the Grammys. And guess what? You can help vote for the winners. Voting is available on forbiddenknowledge.com. And the categories are going to be social media influencer, podcast/radio host, TV host, actor, director, producer, entrepreneurs, health and wellness, philanthropists, authors, field researchers, archaeologists, space anomaly hunters, and of course, a Lifetime Achievement Award. And you want to be there in person because I'm going to be speaking. That's right. I'll be your keynote speaker that night at the Forbidden Conscious Awards. If you want to come to a mini conference, this is the place to be because I'm going to give you the knowledge that night as well as performances. We have celebrity guests performing. We'll have a halftime show where we're actually going to perform music for you. And don't forget about the pre-event mixer, where if you buy a box seat, you'll be in the VIP section, and you also have private access to a VIP mixer with celebrity guests. Shake hands, break bread, network, and then walk the red carpet with us and take amazing photos. It's going to be a night to remember. You don't want to forget this. And you help vote by going to forbiddenknowledge.com. Go to the Conscious Awards link. You can text in a vote for who you want for any category, as well as if you're out of the country, you can use the web form ballot to still vote for anyone you think is worthy of being honored that night. Make sure you hurry up and get your tickets because they're selling out very fast. I want to see you there. Forbidden Conscious Awards 2023. Can't wait.
Hey, listen, what are you guys wearing to the Conscious Awards? That's what you're focusing on right now. What are you going to wear? Now, that's dynamic. Right. Dynamic. Can't wait. Now, I want to talk about delegation, and I know we have like 15, 17 minutes.
Okay.
Delegation, okay?
Mm.
Let me just take you guys through a quick story because I'm still introducing who I am, like who is this woman? So I started my business with $500 and I was a professional dancer. I acted, I danced, and I was over the industry. I started to really understand like, man, this is not me. I want to like do my own thing. So I took my 500, I started a business with one person, grew it with no knowledge, read books on marketing, everything over time. But when I started my business, my son was 6 weeks old. At the time, I was a single mother. I had no money, nothing, and people were like, "Why would you start a business? Like you're crazy, right? Like this doesn't make sense." I was so depressed. I was like, I was telling one of my family members, I wish I would just get hit by a car. I went outside. I went to the store. Guess what happened? Guess what happened, Billy?
My car.
I got hit by a car.
Oh
It's
no.
he's laughing at me, guys, but it's
Oh,
funny
that's
because
crazy.
I got
That's
hit by a car. My earrings,
manifestation.
everything. I flew like down a little bit, and I always say like I don't know if that bright light was the headlights or the creator. I don't know. I still don't know to this
Wow.
day. But I got up, which they told me I shouldn't have, and I was like, "Yo, like I understand. I get it. This is everything you say comes to life.
That's
Your
right.
words have power." So this guy is picking me up off the street, like, "Are you okay? Are you okay?" And I'm like, I'm blessed and highly favored." Like,
You know,
he's
listen,
looking
for real.
and it just made my whole mind shift. And so
Mm.
that's why these discussions are so powerful because hopefully it doesn't take someone to get hit by a car in order
Mm.
to be woke, be conscious. But from that moment
Yeah.
on, I realized the power of thought and words. And now I grew the business into a national franchise, locations across the country. You living in the car. Like what happened? What would have happened if you would have stopped? You know,
Yeah.
like so many people just stop because they're my life is horrible. That you have to talk to yourself nice and you
Yeah.
have to believe and empower yourself and let people know who you are.
Yeah.
Now, delegation, okay? Delegation is key, right? And
Yeah.
so many people don't delegate. They're afraid to delegate because maybe they don't trust people. They're afraid to pass on tasks. One great book that I read was The E Myth Revisited. Have you read that?
Yes. Good book. Wow.
And
I
I
don't even
fired
read that book.
right. And I actually read the book and I fired myself. I fired
Mm.
myself from the daily operations of my business.
Mm.
And it works and you have to delegate. And so what are some strategies that you found effective or you have found effective in like delegation and team building in order so to allow the business to grow?
Yeah. So first, I want to tell a small story as I get into that answer. Like you say, delegation is so key and so powerful. When I had one of my marketing company that I told you about that I had to come from the pocket full of quarters, I had expanded it and was doing pretty good for myself, right? I had a gentleman that I used to meet with, and he actually was one of my clients, became a very good friend, and he was wealthy. I was rich. There's a difference. There's a difference between wealthy and rich. There's a
What's the
big
difference?
gap
What's the
between the
difference?
two.
What's the difference?
Well, wealthy is generational money, right? And rich is, I mean, I can afford a lot of things. I can, I'm not suffering for my next meal. My bills are all paid and I've got some money in the bank, and I can fly and go. I can do anything I want pretty much to a certain extent. There's always a cap because, rich is not wealth. Wealth is, I'm going to go hop on this $30 million yacht. I got a helicopter on this top of this building waiting for me. I would come out of the Miami Dolphins games and I would go down to my valet to get my car. And this guy would go up to the helipad to get on his helicopter. There's a difference, We're all broke. We're just broke at different levels.
Hey.
But I was talking to him one day and he said, Billy, you're doing good. I mean, you're rich, but you'll never be wealthy. And I was like, oh. And he was serious. He wasn't joking with me. He didn't crack a smile. His face didn't smirk, nothing. He said, "You'll never be wealthy." And I was like, whoa. Now, this is where the test came in. The ego could have came in and said, "Man, what you talking about, man? I'm doing this, I'm doing that. I got this, that, blah, blah, blah. I'm making money. I'm killing the game, blah, blah, blah." I said, whoa, whoa. Tell me what you're trying to, explain what you're trying to tell me here, because I don't really understand. Like, are you insulting me, or is there something that you see? He said, "I see something. You want to have your hand in every aspect of the business. You want to touch everything." He said, "You'll never be wealthy until you learn how to delegate, period." I said, wow. So that's when I said, wow, I need to learn how to delegate. Obviously, this man has done it. He's mastered it. I mean, this guy at the time, he was close to being a billionaire. He's now a billionaire. And I started looking into delegation and what it meant. And it's really all about building teams and giving information out to people to execute on your behalf. Like you said, you have to fire yourself from certain jobs. You can't do everything. I can't wear every hat. You cannot do it. When you get to a certain point, if you continue to do that, you're limiting yourself. If you think you can do everything in the entire company all yourself, even after you've mastered yourself and you developed and grown a customer base, you're only going to have a certain level you can get to financially. That cap will be there because you're only one person.
Yes.
Now, the secret in delegation that I found is to also utilize government tactics. And what I'm talking about there is compartmentalization. That's a real word, compartmentalization. And what that is, you can have people working on projects that may even work together to make an ultimate goal, but you can't have everybody knowing everything about the company from top to bottom, exactly how it all works inside and out. Otherwise, you're just building another competitor, right? So you compartmentalize certain aspects of the business, not everything, but certain levels, so that the people that are your workers, and you treat them well, you treat them good, but they have specific tasks that they're really, really, really good at, that task. They don't know how that task particularly connects to this one, where these people are doing something that they're really, 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 really good at. Yeah. And you have these two people focusing their masterful talents on those tasks while you are the conductor of the orchestra, you see?
Yes.
And another thing that you do, you have to know your company from the bottom to the top.
Yes.
There was a company that I joined to become a partner in, and this company required me to be a C-suite level executive. I went straight to the bottom. And you know what the bottom was? The bottom was wiping people's asses and putting them on top of toilets, putting them back in wheelchairs. That was the bottom level of the company. The workers that actually go and caregive to people. I was learning how to lift properly, how to wash people's cracks of their butts out, the poop out of their butt, changing dirty diapers on adults. And they said to me, the workers, "Mr. Billy, why would you want to do this? You own the company." You know what I said? "I want to lead from the front. I want to know everything you guys go through, so that number one, you can never say, I don't understand. Yes. Number two, I can understand where I can perfect and make things better so that you can have a better job, that you feel more comfortable, that things become easier for you." And I worked myself from the bottom all the way back up to the C-suite level. And then I knew every aspect of the business, top to bottom. And then I created a brand new system for that company, which is still in effect today, that took the company from $1 million company to a $100 million company. And so you have to understand these types of things, but you can only do it if you're willing to drop the ego and lead from the front. That means I might walk into somebody's house and take the garbage out. I'm an executive. I don't got to touch no garbage, but you have to understand that. But when you do that, the people that you're building these teams with, that you're teaching to delegate their workload, you're delegating workload to, those people have another level of respect for you. And I learned that when I was coaching basketball. I coached the U.S. Junior Olympics and AAU and USSSA basketball, 15 gold medals in 7 years. And what did I do? I would take the players in the gym every single day for practice, and I would practice with them.
Yes.
I would run the laps with them, run the suicide sprints with them. Yes. I would do all the drills with them. I would play against them in the scrimmages. Yes. You know why? Because I'm not going to let Coach Billy beat me. And guess what? Coach Billy is running all these laps. And it's a pride thing now. Now, you can never get on that court, and when I scream at you and tell you to do something, you can never look back at me and say, "Man, you don't understand what we're going through here." When I say you missed that defensive coverage over there, or you didn't execute that play right, you can never look back at me because, I know all the plays. I know all the coverages. And I've done it with you on the court in real time. So now when you look back at me, you're like, man, he understands. He's a player's coach. So in business, if you become a player's coach, understand from top to bottom, delegate information out to people who are specialists in areas of what they do really well. And then you compartmentalize it that way. You can build a massive team. You can build a conglomerate that way.
Yeah. Yes. And people say, how can I start? What I did, I took a piece of paper and I wrote down everything I did not like doing in my business. It was a stretching business, right? So I enjoyed stretching. I did not like answering all the calls, all the emails, this and that, this whole list. And so I looked at the list and I'm like, oh, this looks like a manager's role, right? So look at the list that you create, find someone to do the task who would love to do the task, who is passionate about doing the task. Because if you're the solo entrepreneur trying to do everything, when you answer the phone, it's not going to sound the same as somebody who actually wants to answer the phone. And there's a big disconnect in the country, I would say right now, between the owner and the employee, because oftentimes, not all the times, but the employer, they think they're up here and they look down at the employees. Oh, you're just my workers. You're just my helpers. No, these people are the lifeline of your business, and it's your job to empower them. Like, you're there to empower them, and you have to position people in places where they feel passion. Whatever this person is good at, let them thrive in that area within your organization. And you get people like that who thrive in different aspects. And that's how you build a strong company, because people enjoy the work. Don't just give people, mop the floor, and that's all they do. They're going to be, who wants to mop? I like mopping the floor every now and then, not all the time. But when I go into some of my locations, I get the broom and I start sweeping. Like, why would I tell somebody else to do it? And like your story with working from the bottom up, that's how you win, and that's how you build culture. Now, marketing and branding. What are some crucial aspects that entrepreneurs should keep in mind to effectively promote their businesses?
Well, the first thing you got to keep in mind is staying on top of everything, all the new changes. That's what Elizabeth is so great at. Elizabeth Huckstra, who's really the director of content and creation for the company. She's the director of operations. She does so much, and she now is beginning to delegate and build teams underneath herself. She's been great at building teams and now also just overseeing the massive amount of content. But the key is she's always on top of her game. She's knowing what new thing is coming out, what algorithms have changed, understanding that this is doing better now than this. She's studying the results of different marketing campaigns. If you just think you can put out ads, or if you think you can just do this thing one way and you can do it and it worked one time and now you can do it forever, you're wrong. That's so off. Because that thing you did today that worked good today, in 3 weeks is something totally different. And so it takes a person that's really just dedicate an enormous amount of time to understanding how it works. If you don't have a lot of time in the beginning, then the best thing for you to do is to learn as much as you can about it and kickstart yourself until you can hire somebody who can specialize in that. So what Elizabeth has done is she mastered it herself first, understanding the way that the different social media works. There's the understanding how the difference between organic and paid ads, understanding how the different types of creatives need to be made, what the look does, what looks of creatives draw people in versus let people scroll right by. And she's mastered that. And so now she's recruited other people that are specialists in those areas. And those people specifically do only one thing and one thing only. They do exactly this kind of creative, this kind of ad, this kind of marketing. And she oversees them like the conductor of an orchestra. And those people now are just doing the work, but they're specific. Now, staying on top of these things requires the fact that you pay attention to even your own feed, because conventional marketing, like in magazines and TV commercials, that's really old hat. Nobody's really doing that anymore. The majority of your sales are going to come from, if you're marketing, services or products, are going to primarily come from social media, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, those kind of brands, even Twitter, you can market on. Those ads actually do pretty well if you create compelling ads and things that draw people in. And you have to understand how to master that. And so Elizabeth's done a great job. That's one a two-part answer. I delegated that to Elizabeth. She then mastered it, and then now she's delegated it to other people, and we have specialists working on that. But understanding that the landscape of marketing is not steady and flat, right? It's not stagnant. It changes from day to day. And you almost get to a point once you get big enough that you have to be able to get people who are specialists in those areas. We have one person that does nothing but YouTube ads. We have another person that does nothing but Facebook ads and Instagram ads, right? So you have to find specialists in some of those areas. And when you find that person that's passionate about doing that and loves that kind of work, you bring them in and let them do that work.
Love it. Love it. Listen, we have to do a part 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, right? Because there's just so much to talk about. And I was really inspired. Like, I know your whole backstory. I know all of the great work you've done. But when I actually had a one-on-one conversation with you and tapped into the business side, I was completely blown away. Like, whoa, like you are the brand, right? And that actually, that's another book. But you are the brand, and you've done a great job, managing it, growing it, putting it all together. So 2 questions. So give us one story where you were like, I'm done. I'm not doing this anymore. I quit. What that most people never heard, and how were you able to pick yourself up and continue to keep going?
So I kind of touched a little bit on this in a video I did the other day when I was talking about some turmoil that I had in my life with some people that I went into business to. Was a bad deal in every way possible. And I opened this call center, and I ended up, long story short, merging with this other call center because they had the sales force that was trained to do what I needed them to sell. And I had the technology in the nicest type of an office with, everything high tech, everything clean, brand new. They didn't have anything like that. They had old rinky dink stuff and, bad technology. And so we decided to merge, and we merged, and the company took off within the first 2 weeks. We were doing over 150 grand a week in business every single week consistently, which was good for that industry. And things kind of started going south when there was some situations with some of the partners, stealing and taking money and information out of the company. And every single week, it seemed like another headache, another nightmare, another thing to overcome. It was like week after week, you never knew what was going to happen. Yep. And one day I just walked in and I was like, guys, I knew that I wanted to teach and become a global teacher in knowledge. And I just walked in one day and said, look, I got to pivot, man. I got to pivot out of this. And I just, I said, I'm turning everything over to you guys, And it wasn't that I was quitting entrepreneurship. I was relinquishing myself from the burden of something that was holding me back from my true passion, which was knowledge and teaching knowledge. And I felt like I had been slipping in that area because I was waiting for the World Wide Web to appear due to the Hopi prophecy saying that the world would be connected by a web. I learned that 10 years before the internet existed. And I said to myself, when that happens, I'll be ready to teach. And now it had been a few years gone by and I hadn't fulfilled the promise. I had been dabbling with it through forums and stuff, but I haven't really gone, feet first. Excuse me. So at that moment, I just dove in and I switched. I pivoted from the call center. I gave them everything. I wanted nothing out of it. I pivoted right into knowledge. I jumped in feet first, with no parachute. And I literally started from ground zero, and I started in 2014. I didn't monetize or stop monetizing until 2017. The first year was 189,000. The second year was 1.3 million. The third year was 1.9 million. The fourth year went to 2.6 or 2.7 million, and it just kept on going up, since then. And so, but, sometimes you got to make the pivot. Now, some people get to that point where they just want to give up. But it's a viable business. That business was something that had too many cooks in the kitchen and too much stuff I couldn't control at the leadership level. So I decided to walk away. But a lot of times people get into a situation where it's not like that, you see, and a couple of blind sides come, a couple of issues or problems come, but they, instead of going into problem solving mode, they go into victim mode, victim mindset. And when you go into victim mindset, that's the mindset that forces you out of the system down to the wayside. It's like throwing a gutter ball in bowling, right? You're going down the gutter.
It's like an escalator going backwards.
Exactly. I can't stand people with that. I hate to say this, but I can't stand people that take the victim mindset. I just can't, because, I go to Egypt every year and I see 5-year-old kids working 16 hours a day doing slave labor for $10, $15, right? A week, not a day, a week. And then there's people here laying on the couch going, I can't find a job and nobody and this is going wrong. I had my business didn't work out and he stole my idea and took my cup. I'm like, come on, man. Are you for real? There's so many ways to make money out here. There's so many ways to be creative out here. People are getting mixed up with what creates the money. The money isn't created by the business. The business is just the actual avenue that it comes to you. The money is created by your creativity. It's created by conscious thought. This is where the money comes from. It comes from this. The money, the business is just a conduit to get it into your account. So, people have to stop taking the victim mindset. You got to go from PTSD to PTG, post-traumatic growth.
Oh my God.
You learn from those mistakes and you say, okay, this happened to me. Now what can I glean from this? What can I take from this to make me better and to not duplicate that next time? And it may take you a few times stumbling into it before you figure it out. And then I solved this problem. It'll never happen again. Now I move to the next step and the next step and the next step until you get to the point where you're at the top. Then you look back and go, damn, I climbed this whole hill. I'm here now.
And
that's the process.
And that's success. Success is not stopping, not giving up. Like, you just have to keep going. And like you said, you'll look back like, wow, I survived. We're still alive. We still have a purpose. We're still supposed to fight. Don't just give up and sit there and start crying. Get up and just force yourself to move. It's so profound. Last thing, I like to call it the behind the hustle strategy of the day, right? So like, how can I call this something else? But I'm like, that gym just blew my mind. So now I'm like, but how can someone, and you see this economy is what it is right now, right? People are suffering. People don't know how they're going to feed their families. People don't know what tomorrow holds for them. How can someone who has the desire to create their own thing, their own product, business, service, how can someone start tomorrow with little to no money? Like, what is the first thing that they should do? How can they get started to make this an actual thing in their life versus just like a thought? How can they bring this to reality?
If somebody has little to no money, there's a couple ways they can do a couple of things they can do to get started. The first thing is, the easiest way is to find a job that is similar to what you want to do, what you're great at, what you're passionate at, what you really want to bring to the world. Find a job doing that. And you learn that from the inside out. And you also take home a paycheck, which you can then invest money from that paycheck into starting up your own company, right? Another thing that you can actually do is you can become a student of somebody who has that special gift or talent, right? So you become a mentee under them. They become your mentor. Ask somebody if you could become a mentee. Let them mentor you. And you'll work for free. This is what P. Diddy did. Remember Puff Daddy?
What?
He worked for free. I think he got on a train for 3 hours a day up and 3 hours back for I don't know how many years he did that for free until he got to $100 million. He paid his dues. So sometimes it takes you having to pay your dues, but the knowledge is priceless. When you get that knowledge from the master, that's priceless. So when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. Then when you become the teacher, the master will appear. You have to become the student and the teacher, and then you become the master. So it's a process to get to that level. Another thing that you can do is, of course, a lot of people are suffering in poverty already. They're in bad situations. You need to become a person that hustles. And there's no shame in hustling. In most communities around the world where there's poverty, you're always going to find hustlers. People like I took toys. When I got to high school, I was selling Snicker bars and these candy sticks. They had little powder. I don't know what these straws with powder in them. I don't even eat candy. I never liked candy and soda, but I sold the heck out of candy and soda in high school. So you got to become a hustler. Find something that you can do. If you don't have anything to sell, you don't have any money to invest in anything to sell, go find somebody who's selling something, and not dope. Don't sell no dope now. but find somebody in your neighborhood who's got things going on, whether it's clothing, whether it's pots. I remember I sold pots out of the trunk of my car as an entrepreneur before, literally cooking pots. I would drive and go to businesses and go in there with cooking pots and pitch these women at these receptionist desks and leave a work order sheet. And I would come back at the end of the week and pick up orders for pots, whatever it takes. You make some money, you invest that money into what? Into your dream, into your vision. Don't get it and squander it. When I was selling newspaper subscriptions for the Miami News at the age of 12, going door to door. I became the top subscription salesperson. My friends who were all between 12 and 16 with the same job, they were spending their money on gum and candy and toys. I said, the hell with candy and toys. Right. I'm going to need this money for something, right? Right? I bought one thing. I bought a calculator watch from Kmart with the little black digital readout on it, $19.95. Never forget it. The rest of the money I saved, I had to pay $100 a month for rent to my house, which I did that. And the rest of the money I saved, and when that opportunity came for those digital car radios, I had the money to buy them. I didn't know where the opportunity was coming from, but I knew I had to prepare for it because a genius solves problems before they happen.
Stop trying to figure out where it's coming from and spend your time preparing for it. Prepare for the abundance that's coming into your life. And don't try to figure out how it's coming. Just prepare for it. Sit back. Do the work and it will fall in your lap. Listen, this is part 1. We're going to do 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Everyone.
Yeah. You guys so much. We can talk for 20 hours on this, maybe more.
On this topic, like legit. But Billy, where can people find you? What do you have coming up next? Like, where should they go to find you next?
Well, go to forbiddenknowledge.com, of course, or forbiddenknowledge.tv with the number 4. Go to your app store. Go to iOS App Store, Google Play Store, Samsung TV apps, Roku apps, Apple TV apps, Amazon Fire TV apps, and type in Forbidden Knowledge TV and get the free Forbidden Knowledge TV app. On there, there's over 6,000 shows, workshops, classes, documentaries, and movies that you can watch. A lot of stuff you're not going to find on YouTube. You'll find it exclusively on the Forbidden Knowledge TV app. So go and check that out. I'll be speaking in London in August. I'll also be speaking in Manchester. Information about that will be posted forthcoming. Those dates have already been set and locked in. And I have an incredible workshop coming up with 19 keys. The video I did with 19 keys about, 7 months ago is at 5 million views on YouTube. And we have a Unlock Your Supermind Code workshop coming up. That's going to be in May 21st this year. You can go to eventbrite.com and you can register for the Unlock Your Supermind Codes workshop. And of course, we got the Forbidden Conscious Awards coming up. That's going to be July 30th this year, 2023. Go to forbiddenknowledge.com and get all the information right there.
Oh, man. Listen, Billy, thank you so much for coming on. We got to have you on again. This whole channel, this whole podcast, I should say, is about inspiring, helping people get started, helping people get out their rut. And it's conscious business. That's really what it is. You guys are thank you so much, everyone, for joining us today. I'm Kika I Am. You can find me Kika I Am on Instagram. I can help you turn your business into a franchise. I can help you start a business. Hit me up on Instagram if you need help getting started. And just keep coming back. There's so many amazing podcasts on this channel. I'm honored to be one of them. There's just so much great knowledge on here. And thank you so much, Billy, for creating this resource for us all. And you guys better come back, because every week on Tuesday at 7:30 p.m. EST, I'm going to drop more gems. I'm going to have more guests. I'm going to just help people really live the life of their dreams, and specifically regarding building a business. So Thank you so much. You guys are amazing. See you guys next time.